Hey everybody, welcome to our Post Point podcast, our anything and everything podcast. I'm Braden.
And I'm Nina. And this week we are talking about the effect that traveling has on people. As somebody who travels a lot, Braden, you have some immediate thoughts?
Yeah, so I have not traveled internationally a lot, but the one big trip I did last year was going to Cortina and Venice, Italy. And just that experience of traveling on my own to somewhere that far away gained a lot of I feel like almost maturity in the sense of I realized what other cultures are like and what it's like to go alone somewhere for that long. I was there for 2 weeks. So
2 weeks by yourself?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I traveled alone, but I met friends there. So I did have people there, but the initial traveling of transferring from airports and all of that stuff, and I was competing with archery, so I had a bow case, a suitcase, a carry-on, and my camera bag.
Okay.
So traveling through 4 airports total is a lot to carry all that stuff.
I was gonna say.
And it definitely made me. I was nervous, but once I successfully did all of that, I felt a little bit more accomplished, and it was definitely interesting to see just the difference in culture with. I mean, obviously languages because it's Italian more or less over there. A lot of English, but a lot of Italian. But if you look at the menus and stuff like that. And I was in good areas, so the food was good and everything like that. Yeah, I was safe, but you definitely have areas traveling where you don't know if you're gonna be safe, and I feel like that can add a lot to a person as well. To kind of be looking out for yourself or others.
Yeah.
You have to be more responsible in that way. So.
For sure. Did you have anything that you like work or school that you had to miss when you're going on your trip?
At that point, no. I volunteered at Mount Rainier National Park, and I missed the last week I worked, which was 3 days, because I only worked 3 days a week. I missed those 3 days for the last bit, but it was in between school, so I didn't miss any school at the time.
That's really nice. I feel like it can be hard sometimes for people to get time off of work or take time away from school to go and travel, because it's a financial burden too.
Definitely.
Did you have to save up a lot to go on that trip? 2 weeks is kind of a long time to go.
Yeah.
Especially overseas.
That one was not really paid for at all, so I'd say that trip cost $2,200 to go on with flights and everything. And I actually had my flight get canceled on the way home.
No.
So American Airlines reimbursed me the flight.
Okay.
So it saved me a good $700.
Jeez.
And I got a free night in Venice, so it was worth it. Okay. But for people who are on a tight schedule, that had to come back to school or work, and they get canceled and can't come back for another day and a half, that can be rough. So
yeah, for sure.
It definitely traveling. I feel like you have to be very lenient on what you're doing. It's kind of a lifestyle that a lot of people live. Some people will travel, but then other people they travel every couple months.
Often,
yeah.
I think it's interesting too, the comparison between taking a vacation versus traveling.
Yeah.
Because it's you can go to places like Cancun or Disney World or something like that are made for tourists and for people taking a vacation versus what you did for a competition, or I'm assuming with your archery stuff.
Yeah. It's I would not really.
It wasn't really a vacation.
I wouldn't consider that a vacation, no, because I was stressed. Because there's a world championship, so obviously a lot of stress. So I was
slight flex.
Yeah, no, but it was get there, practice day, shoot, and then I had 3 days to vacation, and hang out with friends and stuff like that. But it was a lot of the initial week, 1 week straight of just shooting. So that was really stressful, and then the practice days were more lenient, but it's almost like work,
amping up to it, yeah.
But
for sure.
Disney World or Disneyland. I've gone with family to there and stuff, and it's
it's totally different because you're just chilling out.
Yeah.
But it's everything's also very planned out, right? It's you know how much money you have and all these different things. I feel like people who travel and go to they go backpacking, right? Or they go into these local communities of different areas.
Yeah,
that's really immersing yourself into the culture, and I think that's what I want to do. And I think that really,
me too.
That's what I think kind of furthers you as a person culturally, and have to have a better understanding of people versus just traveling somewhere Alani Disney Resort, right?
Yeah.
It's it's fun, but it doesn't really affect you so much as it does being in the communities of local people.
Yeah, I'm more about the winging it,
real
seeing
adventure, what happens.
Not I'd rather just grab a ticket and fly to New York than plan out a trip to Disney World.
Right. Just
rather
see what you
wing
can
it
find
and see who I can stay with or what I can do than actually plan a trip.
Well, I think it'd be great to like go over and like go to like a local restaurant and be like, hey, what are things to do around here? Or like find people, you know, stuff like that. Like really seeing like what the locals especially consider like important in their area.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what, like, I consider, I haven't really been on a, like, vacation in, like, probably 10 years. It's been a while. So, like, yesterday, or this last weekend, I went on just a spontaneous adventure for a 1 day or 2 day, the weekend, up in Olympic National Park. And that was kind of the thing we did. We just didn't plan anything. We were just like, all right, let's just go. And we jumped on this trail. And we, no joke, like, hiked for, like, 6 miles. And then, like... I was like dying because I didn't eat lunch, and we ended up turning around and we didn't even make it like to where we were going, and it was like still fun. Like we just went out and found a trail and got on it. Didn't know what the even lake looked like. We just were like, let's just jump on this one, and then came back, just drove through Forks, and Forks is a tiny little town, so we were like, okay, what food can we actually find? And we just found like the first like burger shop we could. It's really good, and we just kept going on, just finding random things like that. So I think those type of adventures, you learn a lot more about, one, who you're with, and two, your friend, or and yourself. But those, to me at least, are a lot more fun.
I think I definitely agree with that. Like, as far as like traveling and how it affects a person, right? I feel like a lot of people live the lifestyle too, where like you work your job, like all of your career, right? And then you have like a weekend or a week set aside in the year, or every other year, to go and like go to visit some place. And it's like, some people totally love doing that, and I think that's great, but I feel like that would put a lot of pressure on the person to like really enjoy that week, right? Versus like going out and just like having spontaneous adventures, right? The idea of like saving up a lot of money and then planning this like very specific vacation that you're taking, I feel like that would almost have a negative effect because you're so like, I need to enjoy this relaxation time, right?
Yeah, you put more pressure on yourself to have fun than, because you're like, I planned this, like it's gonna be fun.
I need to enjoy it.
But then, like that's like, I planned a trip this year to go to Iceland, and we're going in September, but like we literally only booked the hotels around the areas we're gonna go, but we don't have like specific like, I have a list of places I do want to go, but we're just gonna explore around that area. Like we're not like stuck to like, okay, we're going here from 2:30 to 5, then we're going here from 3:30. Like
that doesn't feel like authentic, you know? That's just like, oh, here's like our tour guide, our schedule for the day, you know?
I'd rather just go find it myself, and those are when you find like, at least as a photographer, those are when you find like the beautiful scenes that you wouldn't find in a magazine, you know, like
for sure.
It's the things you just run upon instead of plan to go see that everybody is seeing, you know.
Yeah, I think you also find like kind of like the like mom and pop style shops, right? Like they just like run these like little stores, you know, versus like the big tourist attractions, which can be cool, right? They're tourist attractions for a reason. But I feel like both of us really enjoy like getting to know people in the area and like seeing what they truly care about and all that. And you can't get that through like all the touristy stuff.
No, that's why like my sister and her husband travel a good amount, and like half the time they do the like adventure backpacking, and then half the time they're like tour guide stuff.
Yeah.
And they want to go to Iceland as well, but they're like, oh, we're gonna take this like 4-day tour, and it like goes all these places, and you like ride on a bus. And I was like, no, I want to like get off the bus and drive like 3 miles off the road, and then you know.
For sure.
So, yeah, you don't get to have that personal connection with locals, where that's where you learn a lot of the experiences you don't have here.
Yeah, for sure. When I was little, because my mom's from Japan, right? I went over a couple times with her when I was younger, and her family lives kind of out in more of like a rural-esque area. Yeah. Like I wouldn't say it's like countryside, but it's definitely not the inner city. And like obviously now I want to go back and like visit the city and see all like the cool stuff there. But getting to explore like the little like preschool that they had for the kids, and it was very interesting not having it be like this giant school. It's just like this one small building, right? Or like walking just like a couple of blocks down to like the corner store, and they had all this like fun stuff there. And it's just like being a little kid, I didn't need all like the huge experience, right? It's just like I just enjoyed like walking around with my mom and looking at stuff, or like meeting a couple other kids at the like the little local playground. It was just like the innocent fun, like this is their life type of stuff, you know?
I think it's all a lot on how you're raised as well. Like I was raised in a tiny town, like 2,300 people max in the town, and I don't really ever want to live in a city. Like, I say that now, and I mean, I might live there for, like, let's say, like, a year or two, but, like, even I just house sit for my sister here for a week, and I was like, oh, I'm, like, away from the land, and, like, I just want to go out and adventure and not be stuck, like, in a half-acre yard.
For sure.
So
I just have like memories walking with my mom along these like dirt roads with people and seeing like a house every once in a while with like the clothesline out back, their own like little garden, and it's just such like a nice change of pace from being like visiting a city. Which like not to say that visiting a city isn't fun and can't be its own adventure, because it totally can. There's a lot to see. It does, for sure. Yeah. But it's just like enjoying the peaceful tranquility of just being out in the world. Like there was like maybe like 2 cars passed the entire time my mom and I were walking this one time for like a half hour, and it's just such a nice feeling just to be like, oh, we're out here. Yeah. Just like feeling this like area, you know? Yeah,
I drove on a back road to Mount St. Helens last year, and it's a 67-mile drive, and we only passed 3 cars the whole way.
Dude.
So like that's one of those things where you're just like, we're out here, like we're just enjoying nature. And I think that it's funny how people change on like city people. A lot of the time city people don't go that far out into nature, but they go out to nature. But then you have people like out in the country who
go really
we'll go really far out, or we'll like go to the city for like 2 hours. Like we'll still come see your city, but like it's just not as fun as like going even deeper out, you know. So it's like it all depends on how you're raised and what type.
Let me in.
Yeah. So, have you ever traveled internationally?
Yeah, but Japan's the only one, and that was when I was a lot younger. Yeah. But I did a lot of road trips with my family when we were younger. Like we had like our little RV, right? Yeah. So we'd drive around like Arizona and Utah and all those fun places. I've been to like the Grand Canyon and like Glacier National Park, seeing like all the arches and stuff, and that was fun. I will admit, like when I was younger, I did kind of get bored of it, right? Yeah. Like this little girl, like I just was kind of, I kind of wanted to be like, I want to go see the city, I want to go shopping, but looking back on it now, I kind of want to go again to like re-experience it, because it's just so beautiful.
It is. That's on my list of like is just traveling to like all the national parks and doing stuff like that.
It's so wonderful, especially if you can go in at a time where there's not a lot of people. Yeah. It's just like, especially I like Arches. I love Arches National Park and Glacier National Park. Those ones were so nice. Admittedly, for me, the Grand Canyon like got kind of boring after the first day, because I was like, well, it's the same hole in the ground. But yeah, it was really fun. It was a good time. I feel like with things like that though, and like we talked about like going like to areas that don't have a lot of people, you have to be super careful, because it can be dangerous. You know, you said there's like that 67-mile road, you pass like 3 cars. It's like if something goes wrong, like you might be stuck out there for a while.
And you don't have service on some of these roads and stuff. And like me and my dad were actually talking about that, because I do a lot of backpacking and stuff, and like he was like, what if you're out, like obviously I'm not gonna do backpacking alone, but he's like, what if you guys are out, you know, we're on this like 20-mile away from a road backpacking, and we get like attacked by a bear or attacked by a cougar, and like we get away, but then we're still really injured, like for 20 miles away. Like that's the thing, is it can be very dangerous when you do stuff like that, but I mean, I guess it's just a part of the experience. Like you take that risk.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to make sure you're prepared for it.
I was gonna say,
that's the type of thing of like when traveling, you want to be prepared at least.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to be on a schedule. So
I feel like we've deviated a little bit from our original topic.
We have. We're just
I enjoy it though.
We're talking more just about the general of
nuances of traveling and our little opinions about it. I had something to say. Totally lost it. That's fine. Anyways.
I mean, I guess the downsides of traveling, like there's so many upsides in the sense of like the culture and the the stuff you'll learn about everything.
Right, and having time away from your own life.
Yeah, to get away and take away stress. It's kind of like a mental like reliever to kind of get away.
Reset and
But I guess depending on your work and job, it could make you more stressed by the time you come back.
Because like all this work is piled up.
Yeah, right? You could be all behind, or that's where like
it's like money becomes an issue too for a lot of people, where it's like, oh, I just did this big vacation, now I have to eat top ramen for the next month. You know.
And I guess it's the type of life you want to live, because like to be honest, I'd rather, like if we're just gonna talk random money sense, I'd rather be able to travel and live off of like $40,000 a year than make $100,000 and never get away.
I feel the same way. Like money, like, what are you gonna do with that money if you're not gonna go and like experience something?
They say like life isn't about money, and it's not really, but like it's about the experiences. But if I can make enough that I can still travel, but just get by and enjoy life rather than make a ton of money and then just have things at home and never leave, I'd rather
I was gonna say, I feel like both of us value like change and going out and experiencing new things, right? And so it's like for us, it's like the idea of staying home and having all these material objects, right? It's kind of like, what's the point, right? Take that money and go out and do something with it.
For sure.
And, like, experience life and experience things that you haven't experienced before.
Yeah, so it all depends on the work field that you're in, what your life is like, to be able to determine if, like, hey, I'm just going to go out on a week-long European trip.
Sure.
But, like, I say that depending on if you have that urge to travel or not, it'd definitely be something to, if you're our age at least, to, like, look forward to in the future and plan out your life that you can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's definitely what I'm doing right now.
It's difficult too, I think, that if you don't have people to travel with, like families obviously vacation, you know, that's like fine. But then like if I wanted to travel somewhere by myself, I would have to go to an area that is like a tourist area or like a very safe place.
Area.
Like I couldn't go by myself like backpacking around Thailand probably, right? It just like it probably just wouldn't be the safest thing to do. Yeah. Even that's something I'd love to do.
My side note, my sister actually did that in Thailand. She didn't backpack alone, but she did an elephant reserve and like took care of elephants for a month. And they actually, that was during the time where Thailand's government, the people started a coup to overthrow the government. And like, she was like, no, they're very peaceful. Like nothing, like there's military guys everywhere, but like it's not a bad thing. And a lot of people look at that in a very negative way. They're like, oh, there's a coup, like people are going to get killed and like all of this riots and everything. But like she was still very safe. And you just have to look at it and like even if bad things like that happen, like you can still be very safe. So, but yeah, no, like backpacking alone, yeah, you wouldn't want to do that.
Because like she was in like an area where it's like there's other people there. And
yeah, like, there was. So
because it's like I would love to just go through like a bunch of like different communities and just like experience that, right? But it's like I totally cannot do it by myself.
Yeah.
So it's like who do I go with? Do I bring a friend? Do I have like a family member or like a spouse or something?
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of is an aspect of it too that not everybody has to think about, but is very important to consider in general, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, overall, traveling definitely can play a part in somebody's life and determine decisions they might make. It has for me, at least. I'm trying to plan all these trips, and like, there's so many places I want to go, but it all comes down to affordability and where I'm at job-wise. Being like a freelance videographer, photographer, like I can work my own schedule. So
which is nice.
It's like going on these trips is also work because I'm taking photos and making videos. So like I can potentially make money to pay for the trip while I'm gone.
There you go.
And that's the lifestyle I'm trying to live. But somebody who works a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday,
that might not be.
It might be real tough to travel. Yeah. So.
What makes you? How do you decide where you want to go? Is it based on like what you want to photograph, or is it more?
For me, it's based off either the attractions there or what I want to photograph. So like Iceland, not much to do in Iceland, but it's beautiful. So like there's so many waterfalls I want to go image and like all of the northern lights and stuff like that. So that's why I picked Iceland first. Like Chile, I want to go to Chile because of the Atacama Desert. It's so dark that with the night skies. Since I work night sky stuff, it's beautiful, and I want to go tour like the very large telescopes and all of the stuff from the European Space Agency and do that stuff. But then like Italy, Switzerland, Austria, I want to go those 3 places. Yeah, those ones because I want to go climbing or snowboarding, and that's in that area.
So they play into like your hobbies.
It plays into my
life,
right? But like, let's say I go climbing in these, like in the Dolomite Mountains, and I get hired to do adventure photography for a client. It's like there's still ways you could make money while traveling. So that's how I look at it, is like, what can I get a more experience while traveling that potentially I could get a job on that travel. Like
you have such like a specific like perspective of things because of where you are like career-wise and like your interests and stuff, which I think is really...
I've definitely changed over time. But, like the last like year or two to now has just been like, okay, I'm planning it so like pretty much so I can travel and take photos and make videos and do all this stuff. So
it's less about like, oh, what are like the things that people do when they're here, and it's more like, what do I want to do while I'm here that plays into my interests.
Like it sounds bad sometimes, but like I like artwork, so I mean I would go see like an art museum, but like I'd rather go take photos of my own out in the middle of nowhere in Italy than go to like Florence or Venice and go see all of the other older art and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you make your own experience, right? While you're there.
So like, I'll go see that for one day, but then the other 6 days of that week I'm going to be gone. Like, it's all on like, for me it's just based on what I'm going to enjoy more or could make
that makes sense.
a living in. And share with the world pretty much.
People get caught up in the idea that like if you go to somewhere like Paris, like you have to go see the Eiffel Tower, and like you have to go to like all these different places that are like well known in the area. Like if you go to New York, you have to go see a Broadway show.
Yeah.
And it's like you like they're probably well known for a reason, so you should. But like just exploring on your own or with the people that you're there with, right? Yeah. Like finding your own things to enjoy. That's like I feel like it's almost more fun that way because it's like you're like, oh, I created this trip and I created the things that we did here.
I agree.
Not just like, oh, like I followed this list of best things to do in Paris 2018, right?
Yeah, where you're like, oh, I found this amazing like hot springs that nobody goes to.
Yeah,
but then everybody else is in the Blue Lagoon, where it's like the biggest known hot spring, and you're just out in this tiny little one. But it's more enjoyable because you are out there. That's what I try to look at when I adventure travel as well. Mm-hmm. So, alrighty, I think that's pretty much it for our travel podcast today.
Quick wrap up: pros of traveling: you learn culture, experience new things.
Learn life lessons, to be honest. Like when you get stuck somewhere or you get
your
flight gets canceled, like stuff like that. Yeah, you learn how to deal with either pressure scenarios or how to just survive.
Yeah, gain new work clients, right?
Yeah, potentially.
And, like feed your interest.
You meet new friends and stuff. I have friends in since the archery stuff. I have a friend in Australia and a friend in Austria. So I was like, if I want to go travel to either of those places, I'm good. Stay, so it's like, it's good to meet new people.
Mm-hmm. And then cons is that it can be hard money-wise or getting time off of work.
Yeah, or finding people to travel with. If you're away from a spouse or away from family, then it can be hard on all of you. So.
Yeah, for sure. There's like the stress of like having to enjoy your vacation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I would say from our perspectives, it's probably definitely worth it to travel and go and do stuff.
At least... Even if it's not a big international trip, like every weekend, just get out and explore your state or explore stuff like that. Because like I've never been to Port Angeles and Forks until this weekend, and I just went up there. Like and it was still enjoyable. So it's like just to get out and experience the world more, I think is positively.
I think for a lot of people, it's just making it a priority too. It's like a lot of people just like oh, I can travel later. I'll do it later. I'm busy right now. But it's like make it a priority to do it because otherwise you're never gonna get to it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
So, alrighty. We hope you guys enjoyed. There will be more not popcorn picks. There will be more post-point podcasts coming up soon in the next few weeks since we started the new quarter. Hope you guys have been doing well in the new quarter, and we'll be back this week for popcorn picks and next week for the normal. So please follow us on social media at the Puyallup Post on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Our website is now fully functional, so you can check out our website. Mm-hmm. Links are down in the description. And we'll talk to you guys later.
See ya.